Greetings and welcome. This is Psychic Medium Roberto, and I truly hope you're doing well today. The subject matter is of a mature nature and deals with true crime events. A disclaimer: all cases are treated as alleged until proven in a court of law. Alright, so while we're in retrograde and looking back and making sure we didn't miss out on anything, I'm looking at the Claudia Lawrence case, and she unfortunately has been missing since 2009. It's a British crime, but I think will resonate with all audiences as we get into this. So, disappeared without a trace, and the context is, let's just give a bit of background. I'm going to go to the chart now, but I'll give the background here so I can see the dates. On March 18, 2009, Claudia is on the way to work, and she works at a university as a chef in one of the canteens. I believe she had recently moved into that position, maybe a year or two. Don't quote me on how long she had been there, but she moved there wanting to get out the hustle and bustle of working in a kitchen, early hours, especially commercial kitchens. So being at the university campus gave her more free time. So March 18, her vehicle breaks down. And let's just say, I'll just say it in kilometers, 3-4 kilometers, maybe a mile or two, that she needs to walk to get to varsity. So she apparently, according to family and statements, I haven't gone too deep, but she opted to rather walk, saying she needed some exercise. So, which meant she would have to walk back from work to home, which of course became more or less double the distance. By the time she got home, there was contact with family members. And I believe the focus should be on the early hours morning of March 19. There are eyewitness accounts that see Claudia leaving early and engaged in, 2 eyewitnesses spot her engaging in an argument with a male. But it's in the early hours of the morning, so that would be midnight to 6 a.m. I've marked the time zone on the left here in red because that's where I believe the event took place. Now, for those that don't know, there is also CCTV footage of a male hanging about on the evening of March the 18th, doing like spot checks by the looks of it. I think that guy is the guy. March 19, he is spotted again in the morning, disappears for 40 seconds, comes back into view of the camera. He's about to kind of walk away, or obviously then would go and wait somewhere along the path. But another pedestrian walks past, so he stops, not to be noticed, of course. So this is where I'm saying on the March the 19th, and I'm going to take that segue in that the 24/6 is a familiarity. Now, we can argue any criminal walking in the road in the vicinity, in this case of Claudia's home, does not want to be seen. So we can grant that. But let's just mark that as one point there. The 15/6 that we see on March the 19th is a older familiar male as well. So 24/6 familiar, family friend. 15/6, we got the horny man around, but is some way connected to Claudia. Familiarity, 6, connected. So the 22-4 on March the 19th. Now, of course, in terms of methodology, because there's one 22-4 doesn't mean what I'm about to say. However, I'm going to point your attention to March 17, 22-4. And I'll explain what's going on. Then March 22, 22-4. Now, just if you aren't aware, on the left of the red block is the lead up to the event, what I'm reading. And the 3 days after will reflect, not what happens on those days, but will reflect what took place on March the 19th and what transpired thereafter. Now, we've got 3 22-4s in the zone, right? Which is not technically a problem, but it's actually a piece of information. So someone or something is around all the time. Okay? In a sense, and I'll explain this in the book further, these numbers that are you seeing here can also reflect people. Who are the people at the scene? So in my opinion, in conjunction with the 24-6 and the 15-6, that 22-4 tells me this person works in a medical facility or the like, a clinic. It has to be a big facility type thing, practice. So whoever this person is has a direct connection with, in my opinion, medical facility, medical sector. Now, I am of the belief, and I must just say, I have made an agreement, of course, with Claudia. I do ask for permission when I do these cases. And interestingly, this case keeps popping up. It's been popping up for a while because I recognize her father. And of course, her father has passed away, not knowing in the physical what happened, right? And of course, those that remain behind also don't know what happened. But of course, her father will have been revealed or would know what transpired on the early hours, the dark early hour morning of March 19, quite a cold morning. Now, the 2 eyewitness accounts, and there's actually some there's also CCTV footage in and around her where she was living, walking, and that same male figure walks behind her, but some kind of distance. Oh, it's treacherous. It's a terrible feeling knowing what the outcome is going to be. And for us, learning about the case now in 2024, and this is why I say we must keep these stories alive. This case is still considered a cold case. No one has been arrested or arraigned or sentenced on this case. Definitely familiar male to Claudia. Very close in the circle. I mean, I won't say it's this close, but if you look at the thumbnail of Claudia, there's a gentleman standing just behind a door in the doorway. I won't say he's that close, but he's probably in the next room. Do you know what I mean? In terms of contact with Claudia. So for me, the motive here is a personal situation. I don't believe it was a random stalker who happened upon Claudia. No, this was not a stranger at all. We've got 24/6 on March 21. It's a reflection again that there's this familiarity. 21/3, abducted against her will, snatched, taken against her will. And unfortunately, the outcome is marked in red, 26/8/8. Not a good outcome, unfortunately. Very violent, very aggressive. This was very personal. So, what would have happened that morning was the question I asked. What would have happened that morning between just after 5 a.m., I believe, and until that walkway started lighting up and becoming more visible and more populated. So in effect, I would imagine at the most, the perpetrator had an hour at the most to do something. I definitely believe she was taken away from that area. So, which could mean actually that he had a vehicle further down the road somewhere. There could have been a vehicle. And this is what I'm saying. He's not a poor straggler, opportunist person trying to look for a handbag. No. This person is educated, a professional with deviant behavior. And I'm getting a sense of in the neighborhood. So the motive, in my opinion, was one of a male wanting, potentially having wanted a relationship with Claudia in some way, shape, or form, and was rejected in some way, shape, or form. Because the lead up March the 17th, March the 17th, we've got that 20 with an outcome 2 marked in orange. So that we've got an outburst there, right? There's a situation happening. There's a screaming, shouting, emotional outburst supported by the triple twos. 2, the outcome, lots of 11 twos, a lot of indecisiveness. There's a situation going on here. And high emotion with all the twos. High emotion. It's almost like decisions need to be made. And I believe the decision is to end at 13/4. It's like ending a relationship. There's that 22/4. And let me tell you, Claudia, with her life path 14/5/5, she ain't going to take nonsense. And the 14/5, not in the main, but part of, is she's going to have these arseholes coming her way. 14/5. But she's also got numbers to support those issues. 21/3, keeping it under control. 11/2, able to communicate with people. 3, self-control. So when we get to March the 18th, we've got an issue in the air here, ladies and gentlemen. I'm now actually going to flag it as red. 18/9. Murder in the air. Unfortunately, as a means of abduction, 21.3. About control issues, 12.3. Why? 23.5. Male arsehole issues. 23.5. Male arsehole issues. This girl, she said no, he gets upset. 14.5 pings directly on Claudia. That's why he was walking around there the night before. Bruised ego mofo. So we got a bruised ego hovering around her location the night before and the morning thereafter. This is why arseholes on the scene. So on March the 19th, so I would also just say it would be worth looking into what happened to Claudia on March the 17th in terms of movement. Who did she interact with? What phone calls were made? What interactions were done? Because there was a situation on March the 17th that I believe triggered the events as we know it today. And with the outcomes of March the 18th, this guy was adamant. Definitely premeditated. I would say premeditated. On March the 20th, we see the number 25-7. So in fact, March the 20th also reveals the 22, the 23-5 male arsehole issues, and the 25-7. He obviously stalked her, but the intention was there. He didn't bump her with a car and then take her away. The 21-3, when you're dealing with such a crime scene, and unfortunately when it's, in most cases when there's women involved, is we have that 23 around. And once again, that 24-6, she knew who this person is. And I believe I'm being led that he is still alive, is he? Living the life. So I'm not sure if I want to go into that 26-8 because, and I'm just saying, well, maybe I'll treat it a bit differently, but it's been since 2009. The likelihood of finding physical remains, I would imagine, to be very slim. In the sense that his manner of disposal is not very good, or let's just say not nice at all. Lots of damage to the body. I believe it would have been either buried or placed in a earth environment, earth. I get a sense that it might have been quite a distance from the actual location, but I don't know. I'm not going to. That's very vague. But definitely a land area. I suppose it would make sense if it's kind of feels like within the area. Now, if you only had like an hour or so to get things sorted, how far can you drive in half an hour or 20 minutes, do what you have to do, 20 minutes back, get ready for work, everything's normal. I went for a run, honey. Get the kids ready for school. Dirty old man. Yeah, the outcome is not good, unfortunately. And I would believe that Claudia and her father are together. So, as a summary, the perpetrator, in my opinion, is known, would have worked in the area, medical area, family man, wanting more than he could bargain for. All right. I hope that the truth or evidence will come out in some way, shape, or form. I'm just looking for that now. I believe there would be an opportunity. And the glimmer of hope, and I'm just checking now as well, the 25/7 on March 22, 25/7, and then I'm also going to highlight March 20, 25/7. Now, this would be an example of how numbers can mean alternative things in a different context. So the 25/7, I'm just looking for any sniff of justice that will be served on this prick, is the word I was given. Ooh, hold on, ladies and gentlemen. Claudia is a 5 life path. And when you're dealing with crimes and 5s, there will be disclosure. Now, I had a similar case, real case, where, there could be the potential, however it comes out, that the person blabs their mouth one day. Do you know what I mean? But the difference here between a 5 and a 7, like I've always said, don't mess with 7s, particularly in a crime, is very much so for 5s. And the difference with 5s is when a crime is committed against a 5, the disclosure comes with legal procedures. It's not karmic justice, as in the case of 7. It might be human justice or karmic justice or a court of law justice. But with a 5, it comes with dossiers, it comes with information, legal documents. So we look forward to that day. All right, let me know what your thoughts are on the case. Quite a thing. Let me know what your comments are in the comment section. I love engaging with you. And please stay safe and stay alert, and I'll see you in the next one.